Adobe's Photoshop software is a very powerful piece of software for use in the creative fields. With a robust set of design and editing tools, Photoshop provides something useful for hobbyists and professionals alike. A well-designed, user-friendly canvas for expression, without skimping on the functionality. Although having so many features to choose from can be intimidating, once you know the basics, you can quickly create a masterpiece. Let's take a look at a powerful feature that can add some extra flair to your work without taking up too much time. Animation. Animation can be used to accomplish a number of things, whether it's used to walk a client through your new groundbreaking design, help you create a living comic, or to help you design a moving image for your new web page. To get started, you'll need the following: a computer that meets the minimum system requirements for Adobe software, a copy of Adobe Photoshop 5.1, and a Photoshop design file, or .psd, that contains the work you wish to animate. To get started using layered animation, open up a PSD file that contains individual layers for all the elements you wish to animate. Keep in mind, if any part of your image contains text, the text will automatically become its own separate layer, so make sure you don't leave it out while you're animating. To get started, we need to open the animation palette. To do this, just click on the Window menu, move down the list to the Animation option, and give it a click. The animation window should appear at the bottom of your screen. This gets us started with our first frame. To begin creating the animation, you need to decide which pieces of your image you would like to have visible and which ones you'd like to hide. Let's start off with just the circle. To hide the square and the hexagon, move your cursor to the Layer window and find the layers you wish to hide. See the eyeball icon? This controls the visibility of each of your layers. Let's go ahead and hide the square and the hexagon by clicking on their eyeball icons. When animating in Photoshop, a good rule of thumb to keep in mind is that smooth animation usually runs at about 10 frames per second. This will really come in handy when you start to make more elaborate images, so it's a good idea to become familiar with this number now. For this animation, I want my shapes to change every few frames, so I need to add in some new frames with just the circle visible. To do this quickly and easily, Photoshop provides a Duplicate Selected Frames button, located on the lower toolbar of the animation window. All you have to do is click this button, and a duplicate frame will automatically appear. Use this to create as many frames as you need for this part of your animation. If you accidentally add too many frames, all you have to do is select the one you don't need and click the trash can next to the Duplicate Frames button. This gets rid of the extra frame. Now, let's hide the circle and show the square for a few frames. To do this, select the last frame in your animation window. This will be the frame that gets modified. To make the square visible, move your cursor back to the Layers window. Remember the eyeball icons we talked about a few minutes ago? Give the one for the square a click. The square should pop back up on your screen. Then, click the one for the circle, and the circle should disappear from view. Now that we've got our frame set up, we can go ahead and duplicate it. Remember, to do this, just go back to the animation window and click on the Duplicate Frame button. To finish up our animation, let's show our hexagon. The process is exactly the same as the first two. Click on the eyeball to show the hexagon, click on the eyeball to hide the square, and add in a few more frames to finish it off. Now, it's time to show off your work. To see your animation in action, all you have to do is click on the play button at the bottom of the animation window. If all has gone well, your animation should start looping on the screen in front of you. If needed, feel free to tweak the animation's timing or change the number of frames to make your animation perfect. Congratulations! You've just completed your first animation in Photoshop. Believe it or not, there's an even easier option for animating your images in Photoshop. The tween option is a powerful feature that automatically creates frames between starting and ending points in your animation. This is useful if you want to create an animation that shows an object moving along a path. Let's use the circle from our previous image. Note that our animation window is already open, and it has its first frame. If your animation window is closed, don't worry, it's easy to get it back. Just go to the Window menu and select the Animation item. Now that we're all set up, it's time to get started. In the lower part of the animation window, click on the Duplicate Frame button. You should now have 2 frames to work with. One is going to be the beginning of your animation, and the other is going to represent the end. From here, make sure your second frame is selected. To move our circle to its ending position, make sure the circle layer is highlighted in the Layers panel. Once this is done, select the Move tool on your toolbar. This item should be at the very top of the toolbar on the left side of your screen. With this tool selected, click on your circle and drag it to its final position on your canvas. Feel free to fine-tune its position if you need to. You can move it as many times as you'd like. Once your circle is set in place, it's time to animate. To start the tweening process, move your cursor to the bottom bar of the animation window. Just to the left of the Duplicate Frames button, you should find the Tween button. Go ahead and give it a click. You should be presented with a settings window that will allow you to set how many frames your animation will take. Remember, a good rule of thumb is 10 frames per second of animation to allow for smooth motion. For this example, let's give ourselves 3 seconds of animation. For 3 seconds, at 10 frames per second, we need 30 total frames. Since we already have 2 frames ready to go, we just have to type 28 into the Frames to Add box and click OK. If all goes well, we should now have a total of 30 frames in our animation window. Now, it's time to show off your work. To preview your animation, all you have to do is click the play button. And there you have it, a beautiful yet easy tween animation.
George is taking a hell of an engineer. Hey!